Let's bring in House Majority Leader, California Congressman Kevin McCarthy right now. Congressman, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for letting me join you.
Yeah, what about that comment, Congressman? Because we know that, we're talking about tax cuts, planning for roughly $5.8 trillion in tax cuts, resulting in about $2.2 trillion in net tax cuts. How do you pay for it?
Well, it's deficit neutral. As you know, we're going to spark the economy. We're going to continue to grow. And that idea that Garamendi has is the same problem for the last 8 years that took us to some of the lowest growth years that we've ever had. Because you know what we're going to do? We're doubling the standard deduction. So instead of that single middle income American only earning the first $6,000 tax-free, it's now $12,000. Another family, $24,000. Instead of paying 10%, they're going to pay 0 in that process. So we're sparking the economy to grow. We're making us competitive around the world, which has been the heartache of most people. And we're going to let the money come back and invest in American jobs.
Yeah, that money coming back in terms of this repatriation fee, what would you like to see in terms of this one-time fee?
Well, I want to make sure it's very low. As you know, Kevin Brady was just talking about that. That should be 10% or lower. But going forward, it will be 0 because we're going to a territorial tax. And what does that mean to the average American? It means as we're competitive around the world, instead of our tax code forcing companies to invest in other countries, they're going to invest back in America. They're going to invest in their own individuals' employees, and they're going to put the dividends back into Americans as well.
You had an all-day meeting yesterday with your colleagues going through this, talking about where there could be change. Can you talk to us about where the debate was and what you would like to see perhaps different? Or would you vote on this, yes, the way it is?
Well, I like exactly where it is. We still have work to do inside to know where those brackets are, the income brackets. We want to make sure every individual has an opportunity to have their say in the process. But I will tell you this, Maria, I thought it was one of the best meetings. That wasn't just me saying it. I watched tweets from members inside the meetings. I just saw a member this morning said that was the best meeting they had since they've been in Congress. Because we sat down, we talked about the challenges for America, not from a Republican point of view, but from an American point of view. How do we make us globally competitive? How do we help small business grow? How do we help the middle income? And this is a result that came out of it. And the other part that I announced yesterday is we're going to move our budget next week. And that's very important because once we start moving the budget process, we're moving into the tax process to get this done this year.
So you think this can get done then this year? And do you need Democratic support?
We don't need Democratic support, but I want Democratic support because this is not a tax plan for Republicans. This is a tax plan for Americans. And as I sit and talk to people across the aisle, they know our challenges. They know what's happening to small businesses. They know every American family takes them days to fill out their tax code. Now they can do it in minutes. It allows them to keep more of what they earn. It simplifies it.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the state and local tax deduction elimination, because there have been a handful of Republican lawmakers who have come out against the new GOP plan because they're not happy with the elimination of the state and local income tax deduction. What do you say?
Well, first of all, think about this. You need to look at the tax plan in the totality of the entire plan, of not just one simple deduction. Look at it overall of what it does. And then think of this. Is it fair that other states subsidize states that have high state taxes? Because look at California. California is one of the most mismanaged, highest tax state in the nation. And they use an argument inside that capital that let's raise taxes because you can write it off on your federal income tax. Well, that's not fair for all of America. It would actually encourage states to manage their states better. So I think it's fair. And when you look at the entire total tax bill, you'll know at the end of the day, it's fair, it's more competitive, and in the process, it's simpler for everyone.
Yeah, maybe. But when you look at California or New York or Illinois, those congressmen and senators are saying, look, this could actually end up being a tax increase, eliminating this deduction. So the question becomes, are you going to have enough support? Will you have enough votes?
Well, look, I happen to be one of those congressmen from California. And when I look at the total bill, it's a good bill. It's one that puts us competitive. And yes, I can vote for it as it is.
In terms of the business side of things and the pass-through at 25%, we've been examining this and wondering, how are you going to make sure people are not going to game the system? If you're an individual and you really should be paying 35%, you just say you're an LLC and try to pass through money as if you're a business and get the 25% rate. How do you make sure that people can't game that system?
Well, that's one thing that Ways and Means is still going to be working through to make sure we have the accountability and the protections in there. But let's also think for one moment. I started my first small business when I was 20 years old. Small business drives this economy. When we're able to bring small businesses down to 25%, you know what that means? That'll be the lowest rate they've had in more than 80 years. Small businesses creates more jobs than any corporation in this country. And that's what's really going to drive this economy and make us grow.
Yeah.
So first off, I want to make sure they're competitive. Secondly, we'll make sure the accountability's in there, that it's actually fair in the process.
Congressman, there are some lawmakers who wanted to attach other things to this tax bill. You know this. And whether it's putting an infrastructure plan in there, attaching Dodd-Frank. Ted Cruz was with me yesterday and basically said we should somehow attach dismantling Dodd-Frank to this. Any thoughts there?
You know what? I'd like to just focus on tax and get it right. Everything else that you want to add on to it, that first means that this is a good bill, that they see this bill is going to become law, so they want to attach something else to it. Let's focus on this, get this done, and then focus to the next and go to infrastructure.
All right. We will leave it there. Congressman, so it was a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Kevin McCarthy joining us there. We'll be right back with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin this morning. Stay with us.